Any visitors this morning? No one ever visits us in the early morning. Why is that? Oh, there's one. From where? From where? Wexford. Welcome. Okay, Ireland or here in Pennsylvania? This morning we have the first Sunday of Lent. And Lent is 40 days that the church sets aside for us to do in an intensified way our spiritual work. And the church captures the spirit of Lent in three ways: through prayer, fasting, and through the caring for the poor, almsgiving. Now, fasting is kind of there. You do it or you don't do it. Its purpose is to clear away distraction. Almsgiving is just kind of there. You either have a concern for the poor or you do not. You either are generous and share or you do not. But prayer is a little more tricky. And in the gospel today, the very first chapter of St. Mark's gospel, and you remember St. Mark is the evangelist who does not mess around. His gospel is the shortest, it's the most concise, the most precise. He goes right to the point. He doesn't theologize. He just tells you. And so in today's gospel, we see him lay out the plan for prayer, for the development of our spiritual lives overall. There are 4 points that he makes. He describes Jesus as being driven into the desert. Now, he wasn't driven in a Humvee. It didn't mean he put him in a car and drove him to the desert. It means there was internal inspiration that caused him to find a place to go to the desert. Now, all of us have that similar experiences. We, too, have these inner promptings. We, too, have had these feelings well up within us that are things that we need to do. All of us have these feelings, you know. You say to yourself all the time, you know, I really should exercise, right? Don't you hear yourself saying that? I really should watch what I eat, right? And then you don't. You know, I really should lose weight. You've heard those feelings, right? Trust me, some of you should be hearing them, okay? We have those feelings within us, and we either respond to them or we do not. And so St. Mark lays out for us a way that we can do this. So Jesus is inspired. He's inspired to go to the desert, to go to the out-of-the-way place. And so the first step is to listen to your inspirations. What's the Spirit saying to you right now? What is the Spirit saying to you within your heart, within your life, right now during this season of Lent? You know what you're supposed to be doing. You know what would be beneficial to you. But you've got to get yourself focused. So what's the next step? After you're inspired, you then have to distance. Jesus went to an out-of-the-way place, to the desert, to a place of silence. He did this so that he would be away from distraction. And so during our Lenten observances, we need to find a way not to be distracted. Some of us are distracted already. We're not here. Our bodies are here, but our heads aren't here. We're thinking about all kinds of things. We're focused elsewhere, Eaton Park. But we're not here, because with distraction, we cannot become one with God. So you need to find your desert. You need to find how you can then distance yourself from all the craziness of your lives. Fasting from candy was not going to make you holy. Fasting from whatever you fast from is not going to make you take you more deeply into a relationship with God. Think about what distracts you the most. The noise that fills up your life. I can give you some suggestions. Put your cell phone in a drawer for a day. And you'll find out that the world hasn't changed. We're addicted to cell phones. You know, there's people have come to me, and I've experienced myself in the back of church, people who are texting during Mass. And their parents sit there and let them do it. And then their parents do it. Can we not be alone with God at all? Now, that's not the point of this sermon. The sermon is that we're distracted by all kinds of things. Television. And so my plea for you this morning is this: if you're feeling those inner promptings of the Spirit, then distance yourself. Distance yourself from the distractions so that you can truly work on developing your relationship with God in quiet. Go and simply let God see you. Be alone with God. Find a space. Church is open all day long, every day. And many people come and go. What about you? Distance yourself. Get away from your agenda and enter into God's agenda. Now, the next thing that happened to Jesus was when he got where he was going, he was beset by temptation, by Satan, and by wild beasts, St. Mark says. When you decide to leave the world for a while, you too will struggle with the devil. You too will struggle with the wild beasts. You too will find it at first very difficult to be calm and to be quiet. You'll come in and you'll sit down and you'll say, I'm going to be alone with God. And then all of a sudden, you're hungry. I need to go to the bathroom. My mind's somewhere else. I get twitchy because we're incapable of being alone in silence. And that's the only place that we can find our God. When we get to the place where all distraction is gone and God can finally speak to us. As Isaiah says, be still and know that I am God. Translated, shut up and just let God speak to your heart. Now, some of you are doing it already. Your eyes are shut. The fourth thing, then, is after Jesus responds to the Spirit, after he distances himself and goes to the desert, and after he wrestles with the demons, he then leaves the desert and enters into ministry. That once we've been with our God, once our hearts have been touched, we then are compelled to action. We are compelled then to reflect Christ in our actions and in our words. We enter into ministry. We do something. We make the world a better place. So, 4 things: inspiration, distance, struggle, and action. That's the framework for the spiritual life. That's the framework for the Lenten journey. That's the framework for anyone who wants to come to know Christ. That's the framework for truly developing ourselves spiritually. We have 40 days in Lent. Will there be anything different? Will anything be different? Will you have taken a few minutes of silence every day? Will you have opened your scriptures? Will you have been compelled to action? Or will there be no difference? Don't waste the time. The Lord's calling us all. Some of you haven't been to confession for a long time. What are you afraid of? The Spirit's prompting you, and you know it. Go to the desert. Distance yourself from the distraction. Struggle with your demons. And find new energy to enter into whatever your ministry might be. It's up to you, my friends. No one can do this journey for you. Only you. Listen to what the Spirit's saying to your heart right now. You know what you're supposed to be doing. Listen. Go. Struggle. And act. Be at peace.